This is the end, my trading friends, the end. All right, guys, welcome to the very last daily live stream. I really appreciate all of you being here. Please do me a favor and hit that like button. It sure does help. And it's your last chance to show the pirates some love. So for those of you that don't know, the live streams will continue. It's just going to be for members of the brigade only. There's a link in the description. There's also a link in the comments pinned at the top there. You can join the brigade. It's just $10 a month, and then you get to continue these live streams into the future. I highly recommend it for anyone who's been listening to me for free every day for a long period of time. If you've been coming back again and again, you must be getting something for it. If you're not, you shouldn't be coming back again and again. And if you are, probably it'd be worth spending $10 to keep that going. So food for thought. For any of you who are going to, who are not going to join the brigade, I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. In the future, I'm still going to go live. I'm still going to do live streams during the trading day, but I just will only announce them really quickly ahead of time, post it on Twitter. Hey, I'm going to go live now, and then I will go live on YouTube. So if you have not pushed that notification bell, it's not just the subscribe button. Unfortunately, you have to push the notification bell as well. That's really the only way you'll know when I'm going to go live if you want to join then. So if you don't want to join the brigade, I recommend hitting that notification bell. All right. Well, what do we got going on in the market today? Well, I consider this balance. Okay. We've had these 3 days in a row where we've been trading around inside this range up here after 3 days in a row of trading around this range down here. So to me, the market is just sort of balancing off on a larger time frame. It's difficult to say if it's going to be a horizontal balance, meaning it's going to pull back down to test the lows down here and then turn around to head back up, or if it's more like a channel and we're just sort of balancing inside the channel, It's a tough call to make here today, but either way, I believe the market is in balance. Which basically just means the highest probability is that the market's not going to make any crazy move. It'll probably be a day like yesterday or the previous day or the day before that. So as far as what direction I'm expecting that move to be, well, first thing this morning, we are opening inside the previous day's range and we are opening above the spike down. So opening above the spike down means we completely take away that momentum that we thought the market might have at the close yesterday, and we assume the market is opening neutral. And because we're inside the previous day's range, we're looking for chop. So how do we look at chop? Well, we look for where the support and resistance will be. Obviously, we got some strong resistance right here around the 4040s. Okay. And we got some support down here around yesterday's low, around the 4030s. So the chop zone, first thing in the morning this morning, will be between those two levels. And what we expect is that the market will just grind up and down, up and down. There's no way to guess which way it's going to break or how long it's going to take. So we'll just let it grind. Now, if it's able to get its way through this resistance, well, then we'll look for it to test the overnight high and monitor for continuation higher from there. If it gets through this support, we'll look to test yesterday's low and monitor for continuation lower from there. But as long as we're in the middle, we assume it's just going to chop. It's just going to grind up and down. We're talking about a chop zone, baby. It's chopping. Talking about a chop zone right here today. The other thing I would mention is that there's an FOMC meeting tomorrow. And so often the day before an FOMC, we have very choppy, tight range type of markets. But the caveat to that is sometimes when everybody's expecting something, the opposite happens. So I'm certainly aware of the potential for a very tight, grindy type of day. But I wouldn't be shocked if we make a move. Anything's possible. All right, so we're testing that resistance right now for the chop zone. The A period low is weak, increasing the odds of further chop. Did everyone push the like button? Are we all liked up? Like it up, like it in. Let me begin. Tim Robbins, you smash the like button, Charles, not push. So sorry. Everybody, please destroy your keyboards or your mice. Screwball, there was some data inside the overnight that made a 10-point move with volume. Doesn't matter now. If we open above that spike, there is no momentum. Now, if we'd have closed below that spike, I'd say there's something to it. But the market-generated information is saying no big deal. Oh, maybe the reason for the move down? Could be. Could be. Dan, I start with a new keyboard every day just so I can smash it. Well, it's not very environmentally friendly, but it sounds fun. Okay, so the resistance held. Now we're heading back down to test the support as the market chops it up. Screwball says bounce from the opening price with an iceberg. Shit's weak. Okay, breaking through that resistance increases the odds of a test of the overnight high. So the next question is, can the market get up to that overnight high at 49.40? And if so, can we bring in new buyers up there? New buyers above the overnight high would get me bullish, but neutral until I see it. All right, well, while we're just chilling in the chop zone, let me know what you think in the survey. What kind of day do you think we're going to get here today? Do you think it's going to be rotational? Are we just going to go sideways all day long in a tight range? Do you think we're going to start trending higher, heading back up towards yesterday's highs? Or do you think we're about to break and trend lower when we get below yesterday's lows? Where do you think the market's going to go today? MCTK says rotational and wait for numbers on Thursday. You mean tomorrow? Wednesday? The FOMC is going to be the big one. Scooball or not. Scooball resistance at halfback? Yes, but I don't think that we're going to break. I think we just still are chopping. I don't think anything matters inside this area here. We're just gonna chop it up. Claudia, the FOMC notes come out tomorrow at 2. And believe me, you'll know. If you're looking at a chart, you will know. The market will make a 100-point move in less than 30 seconds, and you'll go, oh, they must have just dropped those minutes. All right, there's a repair of the week low. Market's looking for support. All right, well, they only had to do a little chop down to repair that weak low, and they instantly brought in the buyers. So that's a little bit bullish to see. Obviously, bullish in context. It's a chop zone. But now let's see if they can turn half back into support around 40.40. If they can do that, then they might be trying to break the chop zone higher. Here we go. Does it hold? All right, the results are in. And they're about what I expected. 46% of you are looking for it to go sideways. 27% of you are looking for it to go lower. And 26% of you are looking for it to go higher. You know what that means, chat. We're going sideways. Half the people are convinced it's going to go up. Half the people are convinced it's going to go down. They will spend the day picking each other's pockets. So once again, this push right now isn't bullish. But if we can get above the overnight high and then find new buyers up there, it becomes bullish up there, and we start monitoring for continuation higher. But there's a very real chance they just poke above that overnight high and then fail and pull right back in. So let's wait until we see that support before we start to get bullish. Michael, I still think down is more likely than sideways. Technicals say we're about due for a sell-off. Yeah, I would just encourage you to keep in mind that literally nothing matters come tomorrow. Come 2 p.m. tomorrow, nothing that happened prior to it means anything. So if you feel like we need a pullback for technical reasons, that's totally fine. But just keep that in context in your mind. That come tomorrow, this market could shoot 150 points higher in a minute or lower. And it's not going to matter what happened today. It's not going to matter what happened last week. It's not going to matter what happened last month. All that's going to matter is how the market reacts to whatever is said tomorrow. That's it. And there is no way to predict how the market could react. Even if you knew what they're going to say, you don't know how the market will react to it. That reaction will be random because human beings are random AF. John George, Pappy? 2 p.m. tomorrow? Yes, sir. Pappy. Thomas. Literally nothing matters. It's true. The universe is random. We're all just a cluster of cells. So remember, if they're going to take it higher, they should hold the half back. If we pass back through it now, it's more chop. Also, for those of you market profile nerds out there, I'm going to bail on this previous balance area. I no longer think that is at play anymore. This could have technically been a back test, you know, if we were to bounce from here. But I'm just kind of done with that balance area. I want to clear my mind and have a clean view on the daily from now on. Not stay too locked into that old way of looking at things. Okay, the market has now created a weak high. A weak high increases the odds that we will push a little higher here, get above that overnight high. So now comes the important moment, right? What happens now that we got to the overnight high? Does the volume just taper off and then the market pulls right back down? Or are we able to start to bring in new buyers up here? We start to get a little node of volume up here and we keep those ticks pumping. If we can keep the ticks going and bring in the volume up here, we can look for the move to continue. But if the volume tapers off and we pull back down, more chop. What's it going to be, market? Do we have the buyers? It appears we do not. That is a look above and fail of the overnight range, increasing the odds of more chop. Charles, is that bearish? Are you saying bearish? No, sir. I'm just saying the market wasn't ready to go higher yet. So it needs to pull back, test support, bring in more buyers. Give it another try. Hey, David. 90% of the time, it works every time. All right, well, we got support at the halfback, and we're back. Well, we're almost back above the overnight high. So I am comfortable saying I am bullish here to try to repair the weak reference at 40.53 as long as we can stay above that halfback. If the market pulls back down and it can't find support at 40.42, then I know we're just going to keep chopping. But for now, it seems the buyers are taking control, so they should be able to at least test 40.53. Let's see if they've got it. Remember, they have to hold the halfback. That's when we know. It's just chop. So somebody had asked me earlier about putting stops in, how you kind of know where to put your stops. So just using this as a reference, if my idea is I want to get long in here with a target to repair this weak reference up here, I want to find a place where I can put my stop that will have the highest probability of not getting stopped out if the trade works. So if we end up here, I'm not going to get stopped out. But also, if I'm wrong and we just keep chopping, I'm going to get out of the trade. So for me, in a scenario like this, I would be thinking I wanted to put my stop just below this node of volume right here. Why? Because I'll give it a little breathing room. You know, halfback doesn't necessarily hold to a tick right on halfback, so I want to give it a little bit of space to bounce around in there. But if we start to pass through this node, if we pass below 40.40, well, then I know for sure it's not support. And so it's more chop, and I don't want to be in that long trade. So then the question becomes, all right, if I want to enter in here with my stop down here and my take profit up here, is that a good risk reward opportunity, right? Can I get in and make less, I lose less than I make if I win. So I get into the trade. Now, if it pulls down and I get stopped out, no big deal, right? Getting stopped out of trades is part of trading. It's not a big deal. But having the system for how to approach it, that's what makes a difference. Having a thing that you do every time the same way and being able to judge how successful or unsuccessful that is, that's how you develop skills as a trader. So it's not about being right. It's not about knowing for sure we're going to come up here and test this. It's about knowing how to bet if we could. So here I'm wrong, right? We're back through halfback. I'm giving my trade a little bit of space in case we just needed a poke down. But if we pass back through 40, I change the banner back to chop and I go back to looking for the next opportunity. And it's totally okay. I don't have to be right. That's what you guys really need to learn. Because so many of you don't become profitable because you think the only way to be profitable is to be right all the time. It's not. It's about having a system that's right more than it's wrong. That's all. So there you go. Now I'm back to chop zone. Now I know the market isn't ready to go up yet. I got to wait to bring in those buyers. Now, does that mean if the market pushes its way up above the overnight high again, I'm not going to take the trade because I got bullish earlier this morning and I got stopped out? Hell no. If the market pushes up here and it gets above there, I'll get right back in the same trade again. Who cares, right? And then I'll make my money off of that. I'll make back the losses from the first one and make the profits off the second. But I got to be fluid. I've got to be willing to change my mind to catch those opportunities. This must be a news bot because the liquidity completely disappeared. So we know we can't trust any moves that happen here until we start to get some liquidity showing up in the books once again. Kathy, support levels. So anywhere inside the chop zone. That's the thing about chop. You don't know exactly where they're going to find support or resistance, but anywhere in here is support. And like I said, ignore it until some liquidity starts to step in over here. James, if you're asking me, what do I trade? The ES. The ES and the MES exclusively. Pavel, what are the little green flashy lines? Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure out how to turn that off. It's like so they have automated trading systems, and somehow I turned one on in there, even though I'm not connected to a brokerage. There's no trades taking place, but that's the computer. Those are its entries for whatever trading strategy this is. I don't know how to turn it off. Feel free to tell me in the chat. Hey, that fixed it. Thank you. All right, I wouldn't be fooled by this support. That low is very, very weak. It is, of course, a poor low, and the iceberg that created it is still waiting down there. So there is still liquidity at the low, working as a magnet. So the only thing that will get me bullish now, I'm no longer going to trust support at the halfback. I'm going to need to see those new buyers above the overnight high, because there's a magnet tugging on price down here. All right, same exact thing as yesterday. B period completely engulfing the A period. That is just a sign of uncertainty, that there's a lot of confusion in the markets this morning. Half the people think it's going to go up and half the people think it's going to go down. So once again, I'm not going to get bullish unless they prove the support above the overnight high. Fool me once, shame on you. But we don't get fooled again. Double Eagle says, perhaps if when I can make a leap to consistent trading, I will join the brigade as an old school student. No, I mean, if you, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like, if you become consistently profitable on your own, don't join the brigade. Like, you have a system, do what works. Join the brigade if you need guidance and understanding. Or I guess at this point you could join the brigade just to have a community to talk to. I take it back. Yeah, join the brigade once you're profitable. The idea that I'm constantly trying to convince people, though, is getting to profitability is about thinking for yourself. You know, all your favorite gurus that you follow on YouTube, they don't watch anybody else. They're not sitting there reading Twitter all day getting their trade ideas. It's at some point, it has to be your own ideas that come from your own brain. That's the only way you level up. Oh, Double Eagle. So I've been tuning into Charles since he was in Southern California, Washington, and New York. Only reason I haven't joined the brigade is because my real job. Oh, I see. Well, then that makes more sense. Seven. It will be no guidance anymore in the brigade. No, it'll be the same as this. It's, I'll talk about what I see, as always. Malang, is it a safe place to use a credit card for the subscription? Yes, it is. The credit cards are processed through Stripe or PayPal. You can only use one email address. Just for the record, if I wasn't live streaming, if I wasn't doing this, I would right now walk away from the market at this very moment. I would say to myself, this is just too insane. It's totally random. It's just bots, squeezing the buyers, squeezing the sellers, squeezing the buyers, squeezing the sellers. There's no statistical edge in here. So if I were by myself and I were live streaming, I'd probably just walk away from the market right now, come back in a couple hours, let them duke it out and pick a direction before I try to take a trade. Because what we're seeing here is completely random. Chilling with Dylan says we're having an ice storm in Dallas. Not much else to do. Yeah, there's some crazy weather coming. I was looking at my phone this morning, and it's like today the low temperature is going to be like 32, and in 2 days the low temperature is 0. I'm like, what? So there's winter is coming. Boom. All right. So we got through those icebergs up there. Now, can they turn the overnight high into support? Can they finally freaking hold it? Let's see. Looking for support around 40.49. Thomas, negative 40. Ugh. Once again, no support at the overnight high. More chop. We didn't have the buyers the first time we tried to get above there, so we had to pull back down. Found some buyers, gave it another attempt. Couldn't do it in the second attempt, so we got to pull back down looking for those buyers once again. And we just keep chopping until one side or the other breaks. Michael says long and short bots equally matched. That's not really how I think about it. It's just what game are they playing right now? And right now, the bots are not trying to take the market higher or trying to take the market lower. They're just trying to push it around. They wanted these 800 stops from the sellers. They wanted these 600 stops from the buyers. They wanted these 700 stops from the sellers. They wanted these 500 stops from the buyers. They wanted these 200 stops from the sellers, these 200 stops from the sellers, these 1,200 stops from the sellers. That's all they're doing. They're just pushing it up and down to take your money. They're not trying to take the market higher or lower. They're just trying to get your 800, get your 600, get your 700, get your 500. Your money, your money, your money. Their pocket, their pocket, their pocket. All day. Crash and Molly, it's called the stops and icebergs indicator. Man, this is a tough read. All right, so technically we are one time framing higher. This should be very bullish to try to head up and repair the weak references at 62 and 65. But again, I know it's all just the computers looking for those stops. They wanted those 800 stops. So I certainly wouldn't be willing to buy it unless support was confirmed at the base of the single print / overnight high. Same as I said before. They haven't proved it yet. Not in my mind. So this is it, guys. Farewell. It was nice knowing you. This is the end of the free daily live streams. As I said earlier, if you want to continue watching these live streams every day, you totally can. You just got to pay $10 a month. Okay? You're talking about literally pennies a day to have this information. Is there ever even one single thing I could say in a whole month that could make you make a single point of profit or prevent you from losing a single point of losses? Because that's all it costs to be a member, less than a single point. As a matter of fact, less than a single point on the MES, less than a tick on the ES. Food for thought. With that, I will say goodbye. Farewell to all of you, and I will wish you all the best on your journey as traders. My advice, as always, is to create your own system. Pick a thing that you want to learn how to do. I want to learn how to trade for backfilling single prints. Try going short and taking profits at the base of the single prints. Try waiting for the market to pull back and going long at the base of the single prints. Test your results and then measure the success of those results, right? Every time I try to take a trade to backfill the single prints where I go short, it works out 47% of the time. Every time I try to take a backfill of the single prints going long at the support, it works out 56% of the time. So the way I want to trade this setup is I want to buy the support, not sell for the backfill. Boom! I have a system. I have an edge. I have a way to trade. This is what I recommend you all do. From now on, create a mathematic, probability-based system to learn how to approach the markets and constantly be adapting it, making it better, learning from your mistakes. This is the way. Good luck, and we'll see you in the funny papers. Members of the brigade, let's ride.